All right, let's talk about habits. We're going to dig into the real science of how to make them stick, and I mean actually stick. We're going to move way past the usual myths you hear and build a framework that really works. So let's get into it.
You know the feeling, right? It's January 1st, you're super motivated to make a change, and then, well, February happens. It's not just you. There's a crazy statistic that says something like 80% of resolutions are already dead in the water by the second week of February. So why is it so hard? Well, it turns out we've been coming at this from completely the wrong angle.
And this is probably the biggest myth of them all. We've all heard it a million times. It takes 21 days to form a habit. But surprise, that's just not true. Real research, like the stuff from University College London, shows it actually takes, on average, 66 days. And for some people and some habits, it can take up to 8 months. So, listen, if you're struggling after 3 weeks, you are not failing. You're just normal.
So where did this whole 21-day thing even come from? Well, it's actually kind of a wild story. Back in the 50s, a plastic surgeon named Maxwell Maltz just noticed that it took his patients a minimum of 21 days to get used to their new face. That's it. It was an observation, not a study. But that idea got repeated and twisted, and it basically became this pop psychology fact that was never, ever based on actual science.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to build a whole new model for thinking about habits from the ground up. We'll start with the trap almost everyone falls into. Then we'll look under the hood at the brain's engine for action. And finally, we'll get to the real secret sauce, the core idea that actually makes change last. And yeah, we'll even give you a super practical tool you can start using right away. All right, let's start with layer 1. This is where most people begin, and let's be honest, it's where most people fail. I call it the outcome trap, and it's all about focusing on what you get at the end. So what exactly is an outcome-based habit? It's pretty much what it sounds like. Your focus is totally on the result. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to publish a book. I want to win the championship. You know, these goals feel really good to set, but they have some serious hidden problems. So why is this a trap? Well, for a few big reasons. First, it runs on willpower. And your willpower is basically like a phone battery. It runs out every day. You get this intense tunnel vision, and then what happens when you don't see results fast enough? Your motivation just tanks. But the biggest problem, the real kicker, is that it never, ever addresses your underlying beliefs about yourself. So if focusing on the outcome is a trap, what's better? Well, let's move up a level to layer 2, the process engine. This isn't about what you get, it's about what you do. It's about your system. And to get that right, we've got to look at our brains. You know, at a super basic level, your brain has a go system and a stop system. Just think of it like a gas pedal and a brake. The go system is what pushes you to take action, to learn new things, and the stop system is the brake that keeps you from acting on every single impulse you have. To build good habits, you have to learn how to work with this system, not constantly fight against it. Now, here's where it gets really wild. The part of your brain that wants something is totally separate from the part that likes it. Wanting is that craving, that drive to go get the thing. Liking is the actual pleasure you get from it. This is why you can desperately want another cookie even when you're already full and you know you won't even enjoy it. Your wanting system has hijacked the car.
Okay, so how do we actually use this brain science? How do we work with the engine? Well, one of the most effective tools ever discovered is called an implementation intention. It's just a fancy name for a simple if-then plan. Like, if my alarm goes off at 7 a.m., then I will put on my running shoes. You're basically making the decision ahead of time, which automates that go signal in your brain. It's like turning a goal into an instant habit. Now, having a good process is a huge step up, but it's still not the whole picture. The deepest and by far the most effective layer of change is what we'll call the identity core. This is where we shift from what you get or what you do to who you become. This quote from James Clear's fantastic book, Atomic Habits, it nails it. True change isn't about one giant heroic transformation. It's about casting tiny votes every single day for the kind of person you want to be. Each small action you take is proof to yourself that you are becoming someone new. And you can see the shift so clearly here. The goal is no longer, I want to run a marathon. It's, I am a runner. The goal isn't to write a book. It's to become a writer. See the difference? A runner runs. A writer writes. The action just flows naturally out of the identity.
instead of you having to force it with willpower.
And get this is where the math gets absolutely mind-blowing. When you make these tiny 1% improvements, when you cast one small vote for your new identity each day, the effects compound in a shocking way. At the end of 1 year, you are not 100% better or 300% better. You are over 37 times better. That's the staggering power of just showing up consistently.
Okay, so this all sounds great. But what happens when that internal battle starts? When your old identity rears its head and tries to pull you back? Well, we need a tool for that moment. And that tool is self-awareness, or mindfulness. And look, this isn't about sitting on a cushion and chanting. It's a very practical skill for learning how to watch your own mind without judgment.
One of the best ways to practice this is a technique called RAIN. It's super simple. When an old urge or a tough emotion pops up, first you just recognize it. Oh, hello, craving. Then you allow it to just be there for a second. Don't fight it. Next, and this is key, you investigate it. Get curious. What does this actually feel like in my body? And finally, you nurture yourself. Give yourself a little bit of compassion. So why does this simple little process work? It's not magic. It's pure neuroscience. That investigate step is the game changer. When you get genuinely curious about a craving, you're giving your brain new information. It starts to learn, oh, this is just a sensation in my chest. It's not actually that great. That new data literally weakens the reward value of the old habit. You're dissolving the habit loop from the inside. Okay, let's pull all of these pieces together. Let's see what this new model for real, lasting change looks like when we put it all into action. So here's the bottom line. First, forget the 21-day myth. It takes months. Be kind to yourself and give it time. The biggest shift you can make is to stop focusing on what you get and start focusing on who you become. Use simple tools like if-then plans to make the actions automatic. And remember, every tiny action is a vote for your new identity. And when it gets hard, use that RAIN technique to get curious instead of getting critical. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Every single day, with every small choice, your habits are literally building the future version of you. Your identity isn't some fixed thing you're stuck with. It's being built right now by what you do. So the only question that really matters is, who are you becoming?